Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining this presentation today. My name is Courtney Wolfson. I'm currently a Senior Pharmacy Operations Manager for Mayo Clinic Health System based in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. And today I'm going to be delivering the talk titled, More Than a Mentor, You Need a Sponsor Too. I have no relevant financial relationships or disclosures to share with you all today, and none of the planners for the activity have any relevant relationships to disclose either. And moving into our learning objectives for this session, those of you that are listening in and attending, I want you to go away being able to differentiate between the roles of a mentor and a sponsor. I also would like you to be able to summarize how mentorship and sponsorship both uniquely contribute to career advancement. I also want you to define your current professional network, sponsorship and mentorship gaps. So evaluate what you currently have in both of those areas, and we'll talk about that a little bit more. And I also want you to come away developing a strategy to initiate or strengthen a relationship with a sponsor. So by the end of this activity, the goal is for you to commit to sponsoring an individual within your organization or community. If you haven't already, please take the time to open the worksheet. This learning activity is intended to be interactive, so there will be some pauses and some time for you to think and reflect. Go ahead and use the worksheet included in the materials tab to guide individual reflection and self-analysis as we go through. To start, I want you to think about if you have a mentor, someone that comes to mind when you hear that word. Maybe they have an official title. Maybe it's someone that you think about when that word is shared or when people are discussing mentors that they have. But really just think for a second about, do you have a mentor? Would you say that you do? Who would that be? What is their role? What is your relationship with them? And when you have that person or those people in mind, think about what makes a person your mentor. So those people that you've thought about, the people that you're holding in your mind right now, what is it that makes them a mentor? Is it the way you feel when you talk with them? Is it the relationship that you feel that you have? Is it a certain level of trust? Maybe it's a title. There are assigned mentors and assigned mentees. That's a thing as well. So just think a little bit about who you thought of when I asked, do you have a mentor? And then what makes them hold that title in your mind, whether it's an officially given title or just something that you've monogrammed in alignment with them. And then shifting gears into our other big topic for today, do you have a sponsor? When you think of that word, does anyone come to mind? Do you picture anyone in your brain? Is there any relationship that sparks of, oh yeah, I think I would consider that person a sponsor of mine? And I do know that sponsor can have a couple of different connotations. So think about it specifically in the professional sense. If you have financial sponsors, obviously that's great too, but we're talking specifically about professional, career-minded sponsors. And if you can't think of anybody, that's fine. That's probably pretty common in various groups. But if you did have someone that came to mind, someone that you would really identify as being a sponsor, I want you to think about why they are a sponsor. What makes that person your sponsor? Is it different than a mentor? Are they the same person? You might have a person that you said, yep, they're a mentor and they're also a sponsor. Or are those relationships different? So I go through this to give you kind of a chance to establish your baseline of not only what your network looks like, but what your understanding is of these different roles. And with that, we'll move into a little bit more of the educational piece. So there is a difference, and definitions do matter. Mentorship is the guidance or coaching and skill development piece of that professional relationship, whereas sponsorship can be thought of as more advocacy or opportunity, someone that has influence and can help your career trajectory or your professional trajectory, educational, whatever that might be, wherever area you're in, but they really have that advocacy piece. And I have a couple of different short snips throughout this presentation that I think are good, like take-home messages, and this is one of them. So one that you can kind of keep in mind as we go through and as I share more content. But one key difference and one key way to remember the difference is that mentors talk with you and sponsors talk about you. Looking a little bit more about the difference in the roles of each, you can see this table here. Mentors are individuals that advise, they guide, they help develop you as an individual, help develop your skills. They help build your confidence and make sure you feel confident in various situations that you might find yourself in. A mentor is someone that you tend to have private conversations with. Like I said, mentors talk with you. So these are conversations that you likely have one-on-one or maybe in a small group. A mentor is someone that is really relationship driven. It's that connection between you and that other person where the time and effort is invested. And a mentor is someone that helps you grow. Contrasted with a sponsor, these kind of go hand in hand as you look across the slide. Rather than advising and guiding, a sponsor is someone that advocates and endorses. So puts their stamp of approval on work that you've done or work that they think you can do. A sponsor also creates opportunities. So they open doors, they help promote visibility. So sharing who you are, what your interests are, what your areas of expertise are. And that ties right into our public advocacy piece. So it's not the private conversations of mentorship, but it's publicly speaking about you. Like I said, sponsors talk about you. So it's that public facing piece versus being more of a private relationship. And sponsors are really focused on what they can give you as far as results, less in terms of the relationship itself. Like I said, I will add the caveat, you can have someone that is a mentor and a sponsor, but the sponsorship role is more focused on helping you go in the direction that you want to go and getting you those results. So you might be thinking, do I really need both of those things? Maybe I don't have either right now. Maybe I feel really comfortable with my mentors and I feel like the sponsorship thing seems a little weird or a little different. The short answer is yes. Mentors prepare you for opportunities. Like I said, that developmental piece, that relationship piece, but sponsors are the ones that put you forward for those opportunities. So you can be as well prepared as anyone in your department, anyone in your team, but if you never have the opportunity to go for those elevated positions or anything in that realm that you want to advance, then that's difficult, right? The mentors have helped prepare you, but you need someone to help open the door, make connections, make introductions, whatever it might be to really help you move forward in whatever way it is that you want to. But I do add the caveat, after that, it's up to you. If someone opens a door, they're not necessarily going to shove you through it, right? You need to make the decision to take what you learned from your mentor and walk through those doors that the sponsors have opened for you. So it's really a three-way combination there between mentors, sponsors, and you. Looking at it a little bit more, like I said, short answer, yes. Long answer, also yes. And a little bit more about why. Mentors build your skills and your confidence, but sponsors help create that visibility and opportunity. So they have different strengths. They bring different things to that relationship that you have with them. There's also a difference dependent on what career stage you're in, whether you're early in your career, whether you're a student, whether you're looking to pivot or looking to make a transition. Mentors can really help at any and every stage, which is often why we see mentors assigned to students or people that start in new roles at a job or an institution. But sponsors are really critical for those upward moves. So like I said, it's a door that they're opening oftentimes. So maybe they're opening a door to a new position, to a new role, to an opportunity. So if you're at a point in your career or in your education where you're looking for some upward momentum, sponsorship can definitely help you get there. Having both also gives you balanced support. So mentors focus on the how and sponsors focus on the who and the where. So really help with that execution piece. And then I also like to call out that mentorship is not the same as advocacy. It can be, like I said, you can have mentors that open doors for you and that act as a sponsor, but even the best mentor might not have the influence to open those doors for you. Specifically, they might not be as well connected in an area, or they might just not have the knowledge. So it's important to have a well-rounded network of both. And really, when you have both, it's that combined impact that helps you advance faster, earn more, and continue to broaden your network. So what are some examples of what sponsorship looks like in action? I've talked about a couple of these already, but just to give some clear examples, sponsorship can look like recommending you to lead a project or an initiative. It can mean suggesting you for a conference speaker or to be a chair of a committee. It can also mean putting your name forward for leadership positions when they're being discussed or when they know that an opportunity is up and coming. It also looks like nominating you for an award that you're qualified for, and it can be advocating for you in planning or resource allocation as well. So I throw that one in there to think even more for some of our folks that are a little bit further along in their career. You can have sponsors that are outside of your department, that are outside of your realm, that rather than sponsoring you as an individual, they might sponsor pharmacy or the profession of pharmacy. They might advocate at a legislative level. They might say, hey, pharmacy needs more space when we do construction of our hospital. So I do like to throw that in there as kind of a broader example of what sponsorship can look like. So yeah, it can be, I think Courtney would be great to lead this project, but it also can be, we really need a bigger pharmacy space, and I think that's something that we should look at. So it spans the range. So if you have both a mentor and a sponsor, or mentors and sponsors, multiple of each, what is the impact of that? There is research that shows that sponsored professionals are 23% more likely to be promoted. And the sponsorship piece is especially important for women and other underrepresented groups, as they often have mentors, whether they're assigned or self-identified, but they tend to report fewer sponsors. And sponsorship is what really increases that visibility and access to high stakes projects, promotions, roles, and data shows that sponsorship is strongly linked to advancement. So while 40% of professionals report having mentors, only 23% report having sponsors. The two roles, like I've said, really do have two separate impacts. So mentorship is improving your readiness, strengthening your problem solving, and increasing your confidence. So here's another key takeaway summary slide. Mentors focus on the skills and your confidence, where sponsors open doors, accelerate your trajectory, and help build your professional visibility. So sponsors, more opportunity compared to the internal building of mentors and mentorship. We are now to our activity part of this session. We talked a little bit already about who you might identify as a mentor, who you might identify as a sponsor, and what would make one versus the other, or maybe some individuals in your life act as both. I want you to take a moment now and reflect on who are your current mentors and make a list of those individuals, and then who are your current sponsors. So do this differently than at the very beginning of the talk, now with the construct of, what is the definition of a mentor? What is the definition of a sponsor? And see if you have people that fit either or both of those categories, or maybe you identify a gap. So that's the third piece of this. Identify areas where you feel like you're lacking either mentorship, sponsorship, or both. And then we'll continue. All right, welcome back. I'm going to make a bit of an assumption and say that many people identified a gap in the sponsorship category, which is what the data would reflect and what I tend to see. So we're going to spend the next portion of the talk focusing on securing a sponsor. So you now know why they're important, what they are, what they can do, and you've identified ones you might already have or ones you might want to have. So let's see kind of how we move forward then from there to help individuals like yourself secure a sponsor. So the first piece is, where do you look? There's a lot of different places that you can look, both inside your organization and outside. So from the internal perspective, look at leaders in your department, and outside, but people that you work with frequently. So leaders in pharmacy, nursing, operations. If you do a lot of work in safety, you can look at people that also work in that realm. If you do a lot with quality, same goes to that. So just think about people that have visibility and have connections that are in areas in which you work. Also think about committees that you're on or task forces, and specifically those that cross departments. So people you might not necessarily work with in your day-to-day, but that you serve on different groups with, they likely have a different network than you. So that can be a really good opportunity. And then planning or governance groups, people that have the say, to make the claim, hey, pharmacy needs more space, or hey, I think we should consider inviting such and such to the table for this discussion, just because those are people that, again, are going to give you that visibility and that opportunity, and that hopefully will be able to open the correct doors, specifically within your organization, but maybe outside as well. And then if you're looking outside, professional associations is a great place to start, like ASHP, APHA, state societies like PSW, of course, all offer great opportunities to find people that could serve as sponsors. In your community, if there's nonprofits that you're involved in or other advisory boards that you're associated with, those can be great opportunities as well. And then alumni networks is always a good option if you're still connected with where you graduated from, or if you go back for any activities, they tend to be eager to re-engage with past students, so something to think about as well. And then just in general, any cross-institutional collaborations that you've been a part of or research, anyone that you've connected with outside of your organization that you've done work with previously can be a good opportunity to connect with and see if they could be a potential sponsor as well. So you don't just find them. I want to make that very clear. You also have to earn them. So it's identifying an individual, thinking if they would be a good match for this role in your professional career, and then how do you earn them? How do you put that person into your circle and help them help you? One of the key things that you can do and that you really must do is deliver consistently. So be the person that people trust to get things done. You also should make your aspirations known. So clearly communicate your career goals, what it is that you're interested in, what you want to do in the future, and make yourself visible. Be present at meetings, turn your camera on, show up early for the chatter before things get going, and stay late to walk back to the office with people if you're having in-person meetings. Join in on initiatives. While we're recording this, it's Pharmacy Week, so there's plenty of stuff going on right now that you can get involved in, I'm sure, in your local area to put yourself out there and be involved. And then contribute to high profile efforts. So if there is stuff that is going to get you out there, even if it's out of your comfort zone, if you're looking to earn sponsorship, that can be a great way to do it. You also really need to build trust, and that can be through completing assignments ahead of deadlines, keeping your word, and just be reliable, because reliability is what helps build that advocacy. And then after you've kind of laid the groundwork, continue to nurture that relationship. So check in periodically, share your wins, and express your appreciation for their support. There's a lot of different ways you can do this, and it doesn't have to be difficult. One example I always think of is after match day, I always tell the future residents to reach out to their folks that wrote them letters of rec and tell them where you matched. Like, they probably want to know whether or not you're going to remain connected with that person or not. You're keeping that line open and you're sharing a win with them. And you're also expressing appreciation for their support when you do that, because that's something that they might not have known otherwise unless they're connected with you on LinkedIn, or they would hear it through the grapevine. So just little things like that that you might not always think of can be great ways to help nurture relationships that you might not even realize you already have, and that might already be, half the way towards being a sponsor role in your life. So why have I talked so much about trust and relationships, and why have I harped so hard on how to do this? It's because sponsors risk their reputation when they recommend you. So that's a key difference between mentorship and sponsorship that I want to linger on for just a second, because if you have a mentor or someone that you have connected with, whether they were school assigned or it just was a natural development as you got to know them better and talked with them more, if you spend time talking to them about this role that you're really interested in and they help build your confidence, grow your skill set, right? All those things that we talked about, and then you go for it and you don't get it, they're not out anything other than the time that they spent to talk with you, right? No one necessarily knew that you had a relationship with them unless you shared it, but they're really not out anything, as opposed to if someone were to put me great to run this committee and then I completely drop the ball, that does reflect on the person that put my name forward, right? They vouched for me in a sense. And that's a key difference between mentorship and sponsorship, and what really elevates sponsorship and why it has the impact that it does is because any individual that sponsors you, that opens a door for you, is risking their own reputation. So that's why you have to deliver consistently first. You have to be visible, build trust, nurture those relationships, and it has to be someone with which you know that they trust you and they understand what it is that you're hoping to deliver in all that you do, so that they feel comfortable and confident being your sponsor. So now that we've talked a little bit more about sponsorship, where to find them, how to earn them, and what it really means as far as having that relationship, I want everyone to think for a second about kind of the other side of the coin. So who could you sponsor? Now that we've talked about people in your life that might be able to mentor you or sponsor you, think about other individuals and how you might be able to help them elevate as well, how you might be able to open doors for them or provide opportunities for them. And I want to take this moment to say that it's not necessarily someone that is, earlier in their career or at a different stage. In that perspective, it can really go all kinds of different ways. I've had, students write me letters of recommendation for things. That's them sponsoring me. I've also had, my boss nominate me for awards. That's also sponsorship as well. And I've nominated peers for recognition, and that's me sponsoring them. So it really doesn't have to be something that follows a traditional hierarchy. You can sponsor anyone and anyone can sponsor you. It's just the context in which that occurs that is potentially different or is potentially dictated by that more traditional hierarchy. But it really can go all kinds of different ways. So how would you think of someone that you can sponsor? There's a couple of different ways to help you frame this in your mind if an individual didn't necessarily pop to the forefront. Think about individuals that you know that have high potential, people that you would feel comfortable vouching for, right? Because at the end of the day, that's what a sponsor is doing, is vouching for that other person. And then learn their goals. What is it that they're interested in? What are their aspirations? And then the other key piece that we talked about as far as earning a sponsor is being visible, right? But how can you help create visibility for other people? That's also a way that you can help sponsor them. How can you put their name out there? How can you encourage them to make themselves more visible? Because it's easier to be sponsored if people already know who you are. To go back to my previous example, if someone were to say, hey, I think Courtney would be great to lead this project, but they have no idea who I am and they've never heard my name before, even though I'm being sponsored, it's probably not going to have the same impact as if they have heard my name or seen me before or been on meetings or groups with me. So that's the other reason why that visibility piece is important. Sponsorship alone is not necessarily enough. You need to have done the work yourself to make yourself visible and recognizable. And then recommend that individual for opportunities, sponsor them in that traditional sense, right? Put their name out there, open doors, and really be someone that they can come to when they have different things that they're interested in, or if you have things that align with their goals now that you've connected with them and learned those things, how can you open those doors for them? All right. With that, we will transition into our questions. First, which of the following best describes the difference between a mentor and a sponsor? A, mentors advocate for you publicly and sponsors provide private feedback. B, mentors help you grow, sponsors help you go. C, mentors assign you leadership roles, sponsors coach you through them. Or D, mentors focus on visibility while sponsors focus on skill development. The correct answer is B, mentors help you grow and sponsors help you go. Next question, how do mentorship and sponsorship work together to support your career advancement? A, mentors create visibility while sponsors build confidence. B, mentors open doors and sponsors help you walk through them. C, mentors prepare you for opportunities, sponsors put you forward for them. Or D, mentors and sponsors both focus on skill development. The correct answer is C, mentors prepare you for opportunities and sponsors put you forward for them, open those doors for you. Next question, what is a key action you can take to sponsor someone in your organization? A, offer them private coaching sessions. B, recommend them for a high visibility opportunity. C, assign them routine tasks to complete. Or D, keep their goals confidential. The correct answer is B, recommend them for a high visibility opportunity. And then our last question, which of the following actions best supports building a strong relationship with a potential sponsor? Is it A, deliver consistent high quality work? B, keep your career goals private until you're promoted? C, avoid visibility and maintain a low profile? Or D, limit communication to formal performance reviews? And the correct answer is A, deliver consistent, high quality work. And that ends our session. So here on the screen, you can see the CE code. It is ENWQWZ. Thank you very much for attending this presentation today. I have my references available as well. And with that, I will end. Thank you.